Shooting USA is brought to you by SnapSafe and the full line of Trek Light lockboxes. Affordable security for home or travel. Get 15% off with code SUSA15 at snapsafe.com.
All right, it's time for another Shooting USA weekly update. Last night was the final rerun presentation of last year's NRA annual meetings. Headed to the annual meetings this weekend in Atlanta, but here is a clip from that show. Dr. Lewis Drake and his matched pair of 18-bore Mantons.
In the world of antique English sporting guns, there's one thing rarer and more valuable than a fine double flint shotgun, and that's a matching cased pair of fine double flint shotguns.
It was extremely rare to find a pair of double flint guns cased from the maker. I have seen 2 examples of that in my lifetime, so it's quite a rare thing. These 2 are a very rare composed pair of Joseph Manton 18-bore flintlock double-barrel shotguns from 1815. I call it a composed pair. They're not consecutively numbered, otherwise they're identical.
So if you're thinking this set must have been built for some very well-to-do gentleman, well, you'd be right.
This would have cost the average working man 3 years' wages. These guns were owned by very wealthy men, and they didn't throw them away. They used them for as long as they could.
And like any prized heirloom, sporting guns this fine might remain in a privileged English estate for generations.
Bianchi 2025 is fast approaching, and there have been a number of developments.
We are up and running. Welcome the CMP Chief Programs Officer, Christy Sewell, and Assistant Match Director for the Bianchi Cup, Jim Henderson. Guys, exciting time as we're getting ready for the 2025 Bianchi Cup.
Yes.
It's already here.
Yeah, we're very excited about the match this year.
Lots of work leading up to it. Talk about that a little bit.
We start our planning meetings with the Green Valley Rifle and Pistol Club starting in December before the match every year. So we have monthly meetings to discuss the logistics and sponsorships and range setup, registrations, just about everything to do with the upcoming competition.
I'd say we start planning for the next one nearly the day after the match. So
Juniors, we're continuing to push towards new competitors into this sport.
yeah, our Rimfire division, we started it last year. I figured, we'd get a couple of juniors, a couple of adults. I think we had nearly 30 people shoot it, and I think it might even be bigger than the normal participation at the Cup.
That's an interesting, that is Tuesday preceding the main match. And so families traveling, those that have junior level competitors that are interested, or adults who just want to get on the range and feel the trigger, have an opportunity to do it for very, very little cost in that rimfire. How do we tune, or how do we make accommodations for specific events like the falling plates with the rimfire?
We start out with that on Tuesday, so there's plates that are weighted, calibrated for 22, and then when we get done with that Tuesday evening, the Green Valley crew will switch them out to the centerfire plates.
Excellent. Are we expecting bigger participation in that this year? What do the numbers look like at this point?
I know we have more than what we did last year.
Yeah, and we accept entries up until it's about a week before the competition. So we're still receiving registrations ongoing right now. And one thing that we did this year, and we did the same thing last year, we had a push to get people to sign up early. So if you registered before, I believe it's April 4th.
27th.
Oh, 27th? Yep. Oh, before March 27th, you get to be in a drawing for a free 1911 pistol donated by CMP. So,
Excellent. So,
One of the historic ones, yeah.
yeah, the surplus 1911.
yes, very cool. And as we know, those are back online and available for sale through the CMP's website and a link at shootingusa.com. You can find that there on our main page as well. I realized yesterday, as a sidebar, I had a little bit of a spill in the back of my 4Runner, and one of the things I had to get out of the 4Runner to clean up this spill was a backpack that I carry a recovery chain and my jumper cables in, and it happens to be from the Bianchi Cup.
Nice.
Oh, yay.
1996. So that was my first time to Green Valley, and dude, that's 29 years ago.
That's a relic.
And that got me thinking about how much history is at this match and how it continues to evolve in such a way based on the technology that's available to the competitors, but at the same time, the elite level guys in the open division are still a handful of guys. There are still only so many names that you can list, and it's quite literally a handful, who will consistently shoot a 1920 and then let it come down to X. What I think is interesting, and the reason I'm kind of putting that there, is that this match has not changed since 1979. The 4 events of this competition were laid out in 79 and are still the same in 2025. The competitors in some cases are different. The equipment that competitors can bring to the line in some cases are different, but the events are still the same. Talk about being stewards of that history, and quite literally this test of marksmanship.
So we had our initially we had a group of, you call it all the names in the sport, right? And we were doing a Zoom call, and I brought up some ideas that I'd had of trying to gain more interest in the match, right? Not necessarily just to change stuff to change, but I had ideas. Taking away prone, and everybody to a person said, "I'm not coming." Changing the course of fire to go to like X plates. So instead of where it is now, where you shoot a plate and you knock it over, you get a 10 and an X, you would actually have to shoot the center of the plate to get an X. Didn't like that either.
Okay.
And that was kind of honestly a mixed bag of reactions. Some were for it, some weren't for it. So just kind of left it alone. But there's definitely some things that were said to us that they didn't want to see changed. The location, the name of it, the historical part of it. A few of the things that we haven't really carried through were the upscale, formal kind of black tie affair for the awards. Our first year, we put out a survey, asked the shooters what they wanted, and one of the things that they wanted to do was wear their jerseys, right? So they have all their sponsors and everything in the pictures and all the rest of it. It just looked better that way for the PR portion of it. But yeah, overall, I think just sticking with it, giving them fun things to do. Next year, we're planning to bring back the speed event. We're going to demo some electric targets at the Cup this year, give them a chance to shoot on them. The electric targets will really help reduce the amount of ties that we have. Can't really. I could do it, or we could do it on the plates as well, but I think having the plates fall and all that makes for better video, makes for more excitement for the crowd. But on the other 3 events, I've even got a line on an electronic target mover, which would be super cool. And if we just did whole numbers, yeah, we could still have ties, but we could actually take it down to the integer on where the shot placement was towards the center of the target. So we could take it to, instead of just saying, "Oh, you shot a 10," you could say, "Well, John shot a 10.9 and I only shot a 10.8." So
yes.
you get the leg up.
So we've seen some of that scoring technology, obviously, on range 1 at the marksmanship park, where it can, quite like you say, to the integer measure a closer X, a 10-point, as you're getting closer and closer to the center of the target. I think that's very interesting, and it'll be interesting as well to see the reaction, especially from some of the elite level competitors, because that's now leveraging technology on the other side of the table, whereas these competitors across the board are leveraging technology in the equipment they bring to the line. At that point, we're leveraging technology that would then measure their performance to a much finer scale, and I think that's extremely interesting. So you say one of those or some of those electronic scoring targets are going to be at the match this time?
Yes, there'll be 2 of them set up on a practical stage or a barricade stage, probably something in between. They would be live results, which is something that people have been asking us for a lot.
Awesome.
So when you're looking at it, and maybe this is a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. For me, I shot a lot of international, never really cared about the monitors. But say you're on the mover, you're going to have a tablet-sized monitor that's going to show you where your shots were. So you can either choose to use that information, or if it's going to mess with your head, you can just throw it in your bag and look at it when you're done.
I absolutely love this. Like, this is quite literally the future of real-time scoring.
Yep.
You know, historically, it's the gallery sitting behind the mover, and everybody's got their binoculars, and people are kind of whispering to each other, and, hey, that was pretty close, that was an X, or that one was a line cutter, or what have you. This potentially changes the viewers and the onlookers' experience exponentially, and that is wildly exciting for me. I cannot wait to see this new technology. That's a big announcement.
Yeah, we could actually take the target hits and project them on a screen for the crowd to see.
You bet. I mean,
So,
yeah,
no more
sky's
binoculars.
the limit at that point.
Yeah.
That is the missing piece, I think, for the majority of the practical shooting sports, and that is, you know, real-time, real information for onlookers and viewers of how the targets are being, how the hits are applying to the targets. That's fantastic, man. That is big news. Excellent.
Yep.
That's
And
fun
another
stuff.
thing to go along with that, eventually we'll have when we implement this, we'll have an app that people can look at from their phones. So you can look at any competitor that you want to look at from your phone on an app. So, yeah.
All right, here we go into the 21st century. Get on board or get out of the way. That's
Yeah.
exciting stuff, guys.
Once we capture it digitally, we can
Yes.
do whatever we want with it. So and we don't have to take it from a handwritten scorecard, transfer it to digital.
Right.
Then
Right.
we have that long delay of posting all that stuff.
Yeah, you would go to the CMP website and click on the Bianchi Cup match and click on the shooter you want to see and be able to see their shots almost in real time.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. This match goes all the way back to 1979, and it's been at the Green Valley Rifle and Pistol Club since its inception, and that place continues to make improvements. Talk about things we might see this time that are new on the club level.
Yeah, so you won't have to go to the practice range, or the Chapman range, I think is the actual name of it. The club has moved the practice range onto the actual Hallsville range. So you'll be down or up the hill from the practice range to the main range. Like I said, we're going to do the electronic targets. We're doing the speed event. They've created another 100+ parking spots. Yeah, they've done. Connectivity for the entire complex. They've brought fiber in, so there'll be Wi-Fi for the entire place.
Yeah, we're actually adding CMP's donating the Wi-Fi for the range there. We'll be putting that in when we're there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, CMP, because that will make one facet of my job at this event much more seamless, and that is those kind of behind-the-scenes extra content related to what we're doing for Shooting USA, interviews and reactions from competitors in the moment that will then be turned around and delivered back to the CMP's YouTube channel. We did it last year. It was very well received. We're going to go for that again. But I understand there's going to be another entity out there creating similar content. Talk about that if you can.
Is that me?
I think so. I think it's you.
We'll see how that goes. I mean, you've interviewed me several times. I feel like I got a face for radio, and I'm not always the most comfortable in front of the camera, but hopefully interviewing some other people, kind of like you said, doing some just little snippets to try and add some depth to the match and let the shooters vent a little bit should help.
That's one of those things, man. It's fun to do in the moment, and if at any time you need help or I can help in any way, don't hesitate to reach out, because we're all partners in this thing, bringing the shooting sports to the masses. And this one is vitally important as it continues to move forward with the CMP's input. I'm excited to see all of this stuff. Any of these matches, big or small, cannot happen without the industry support, and we've got big industry support again this year. Take us through who's helping Bianchi Cup be on the ground.
So we have a lot of them. So we have Taurus is a sponsor, Starline Brass, Vortex, Aimpoint, Frankfurt Arsenal, Crimson Trace, Caldwell Brand, Criterion Barrels, Baxton Firearms, Zero Ammunition, Strum Ruger and Company, and What You Say Hearing and Vision. And there's still more coming in. We have several more in the works that are donating.
Awesome. That always makes for a good match. I mean, and this one gets notoriety. People around the world will know about this the weekend that it happens leading up to Memorial Day, not only through the CMP's channels, but frankly, just word of mouth from competitors that come from as far as, obviously Europe, but also Australia and New Zealand. This is quite literally an international pistol event, and it's very, very special. Jim and Christine, thank you guys again for the time.
Did you catch that picture of that backpack from Bianchi 96? Dude, that's 29 whole years ago. In the comments from last week's video, buddy John replied in about the BMW hood after I posted about Ryder's hatch for his Ford. We did get the hatch to work, by the way, so thank goodness for Ford forums on the internet. They had that wiring diagram set out and it worked perfectly. But here's that picture that John mentioned. He's World of John here on YouTube. Bit of a bourbon snob, so maybe go give him a follow and that'll prompt him to put some brown liquor content in there for you. As always, be intentional. Get somebody out and share your sport. That's what Jim would want you to do.
Shooting USA is brought to you by Les Bear Customs 1911s. You'll accept nothing less. And by Luth AR. Innovate to elevate.